Tapping in.
Are we live?
Yes, sir.
Vince Staples. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir. Yes, sir. Do we want to start the Snow Allegro or the
What
Vince
is it-
Staples?
I mean, we here.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
here. Let's get into this. You'll notice the change in lighting. I might even get my little robe on for the Snow Allegro. You know what I'm saying? Big cigar energy, big red wine energy for that. But getting ahead of myself. Vince Staples. Vince Staples. What does it mean when it's not the first album that's self-titled?
Mm.
You can dig me.
Are you saying he's got two self-titled albums?
No. I'm saying that this is a self-titled album, but it's not his first album, right? Typically, the self-titled album is the first joint. So
I did not
when
know.
I saw, yeah, typically that's how it goes, right?
Okay.
And I don't know, when I saw that this album was self-titled, it said something to me. Did that say anything to you?
No, I didn't, but I'm very interested in what you got from that.
I think it just put a slight expectation that this was, I mean, and if maybe I'm just pointing out the obvious, but if he's willing to call this project Vince Staples, I feel like it might be one that represents him in a way that maybe his other projects don't, right? And as I started to listen to it, I definitely heard a lot more maturity, a lot of honesty. It was a very transparent album, right? And so it felt fitting in that way. I do feel like this is the most intimate look we've got at who Vince is, even though he is somebody who's good at putting his personality into his art.
Yeah, for sure.
What you think?
It was a different take, especially if you listen to the album before, which was the Fish Theory, I believe. Which
Big Fish Theory.
Big Fish Theory.
Was Big Fish Theory, or was it FN? Was the last one?
Whichever one of the two, I will say this is the most palatable and had the most replay value and songs that I enjoyed. Now, if we're going to the first album, Summer 09 is the name of the first album.
Mm-hmm.
That is an incredible album. I remember when Summer 09, something to that effect. That album is incredible. Going to this particular one, this one definitely had the most replay value. I didn't take anything particularly from him giving it a self-titled album, but I was interested to see what he pulls from, given how experimental the crew, that area in Cali is right now, especially rappers, with Boogie doing what he's doing, Tyler just dropping what he had dropped. You really are seeing an attempt at music coming from the West Coast that's very different from the pop sound that's coming out of Atlanta right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Summer 06.
Summer
That
06.
album. Great.
Yeah.
Great project by Vince.
Check that out if you haven't. That's a great album.
Yeah. Recommended in review, baby. But yeah, man, I think going into this, I mean, Vince has always struck me as the rapper who cares the least about rapping. You know what I mean? Or being a rapper, right? Like, I'm not saying that Vince doesn't have a healthy respect for hip hop. And I think that plays out in the production. I think that plays out in the care that he puts projects together with. I think even limiting this album to 9 tracks shows kind of a love for order, a little bit more compact, right? They weren't necessarily going for that streaming platform, big numbers that way. But he doesn't strike me as somebody who cares too much about being a rapper. And so when I try and think about where Vince Staples was in the game, I don't think he did a defining project. He didn't need this, right? You know how sometimes we are looking at rappers' career and say, okay, they need to put out something now. They need something that's going to keep them going. I think before this last Migos album, it was about time. They delivered. I think we're creeping up on it being time for Cardi again, right? You know what I mean? So I think he didn't have that pressure and still delivered something amazing, maybe because he didn't have that pressure, right?
Yeah.
This is a vibe. To go back to the hot buzzword of
Mm-hmm.
2019, this was super cohesive, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
could put this on a loop or shuffle it and really dig it. I love that he didn't try and go for anything super radio. He didn't try to go for anything club. It was just good
Yep.
music, man. It seems like he was just focused on making the music that meant a lot to him.
100%, 100%, man. And I do thoroughly enjoy the R&B features that lace that the album. And I see a heavy boogie influence that is seeping through Cali. And you know what I think about Boogie. I said he's next up, but that sample play is definitely, that sample play over that vulnerable beats is very reminiscent of Everything's for Sale. But off of this, there were a few that I love. Law of Averages, which you played, was quite great. I think The Shining was also good. Was a highlight for me. Take Me Home was a highlight for me as well.
Yeah. Lil Fade, definitely a highlight for me. Sundown Town, that Law of Averages, and even I just thought this was a solid project.
Yeah.
I've already given it like 3 or 4 spins all the way through, so
Mm-hmm.
short, easy to get through. Definitely rides. And speaking of that connection to that creative group, right? Even including Tyler, I believe Tyler also had an interlude with his mom speaking,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? In his
Yeah.
in Call Me If You Get Lost. And so this one also, The Apple in the Tree is Vince's mom. Just giving you a little dose of how Vince got how he is, and I thought that was really nice. That was really cool. So shout out rappers bigging up their moms. Shout
Yeah.
out Vince Staples. I will give this 4 out of 5. Man, this is 4 out of 5 for me. I like it. I rocks with it. Heavy.
I'm not gonna be mad at that. I will say that the first time I listened to it, I it really didn't stick with me. The first time I gave it a spin, I was unsure of what I was getting into. I heard a few things that were cool. I did mention to you that I was playing it while driving, so it wasn't the perfect time for it. I revisited again on some earphones. It was dope. Played it again while I was driving again. And then it really started to grow a lot on me. I don't know if I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 per se, but I'll stick at a 3.5 out of 5 mics. Maybe that's bound to change, and if it does, I'll let people know. And what I'll ask is that for that Snow Allegra album, we give it one more week, because I feel like I have not yet been in the best place to enjoy that album.
Well, if you're relegating me to another week of listening to my girl Snow, then I guess I can live with
Yeah.
that.